Fire extinguishers are a safe, common, and effective tool to prevent a small fire from becoming a major disaster. Generally, the consensus is that you should buy an ABC or multi-purpose fire extinguisher, and the reason for that is because, well, they're multi-purpose. They can be used on Class A fires, Class B fires, and Class C fires. For the purpose of today's testing, I've chosen two 5-pound ABC extinguishers. I chose 5-pound because 5-pound is the perfect size. It's lightweight and small enough for children and elderly to use it, but it's also enough to put out any fire you should be putting out. The two brands I've chosen are Kidde and Amerex. I know in the past I've hammed on Kidde before for making a low-quality product, but this time I've spent my own money on this extinguisher, and I even chose the commercial grade to match up with the Amerex. Because this is an unbiased and fair test, both extinguishers are operational. The Kidde extinguisher is actually brand new in the box. So today I'll be doing a few major tests. I'm going to test for performance, build quality, discharge time, and control. So for the first quality test, I'm going to be looking at what the cylinders are made out of. The Amerex, if I take a magnet and hold it on, is made out of thick steel because the magnet sticks. If I put the magnet onto the Kidde extinguisher, you'll see that it's made out of cheap aluminum. If we take a look at the Amerex valve, we'll see that it's actually an aluminum blank that has been drilled, whereas the Kidde is actually just a cast aluminum blank. The Kidde extinguisher actually comes with a really nice nylon hose holder, but the hose itself was loose right out of the box and I had to tighten it. The Amerex also has a really nice hose holder, but the hose is a lot more flexible, which is nice. If I take the rubber end of my utility knife and tap the Kidde, the rivets on the extinguisher are really loose, whereas on the Amerex, the extinguisher handle is rock solid. Now let's take a look at control. Control is the amount of space between both handles when the pin is pulled. Control is important because it allows the user of the extinguisher to control how much powder is coming out of the extinguisher. To measure this, I had to pull the pin. Note that the Amerex has a really nifty pin holder, whereas the Kidde pin just falls out when you pull it. On the Kidde extinguisher, you get about 1 3/4 inches of control. This is partially because of the fact the handle is curved, which is poor design. On the Amerex, you get more than 2.5 inches of control. Not only that, you can push down the bottom handle to allow you almost 5 inches of space. That's a lot of control. Now let's do some testing with real fires. As you can see, each box is the exact same size at 15 by 13 by 7 inches and will contain 4 pieces of paper, and each piece of paper is also the exact same size at 19 by 19 inches. As you can see, these two boxes are pretty much identical. After burning a control box, I decided that I will light the fire in one corner and let it burn for 20 seconds before discharging the extinguisher at 8 feet away. Here's my testing area. Pretty cool, right? As you can see, this cone marks where I will stand when I discharge the extinguishers. As you can see, this flag is exactly 8 feet away from the cone. I will place the fire right in front of the little flag in the ground, and I will keep discharging the extinguisher until the extinguisher runs out. Usually in a real situation you would sweep from side to side, but because of how small the target is here, there will be no sweeping necessary. Overseeing this test is my Amerex 240 water extinguisher. Should anything go wrong, I will get this extinguisher and immediately soak the burning material. Let's get the testing underway. $19, $20. Let's take a look at the results. The extinguisher did not fully extinguish the fire. This is because it was so powerful it blew the box and flaming debris all over the yard. Eventually the fire did go out, but that's only because it ran out of paper to burn. If this had been in your house, it might have been a lot worse. 1, 2, 3, 4. You may have noticed I chose an older Amerex extinguisher. This is also a 5-pound unit. It's just from 1986. I measured everything. It's the exact same everything, just an older design. And as you can see, it worked perfectly. I also decided that I will not be counting discharge time as one of the parameters because there was a B near the firebox, and I didn't want to keep discharging the extinguisher at the B because I'm very scared of them. So clearly the two extinguishers I tested perform differently, but I want to know why. So let's take a deeper dive. 19, 20. See that in slow motion. As you can see, when the Kidde extinguisher discharges, it comes out in a very thin, strong stream. This isn't very good because it blew the burning paper everywhere, which could have resulted in a larger fire. Now if we go ahead and take a look at how the Amerex extinguisher performed, you can see how the powder came out in kind of a cone shape and blanketed the fire. This is very effective because it covered the fire efficiently without blowing it everywhere. So let's take a look at the internals of these. If we go ahead and take a look at the Kidde extinguisher, you can see that inside of here you have a long plastic tube and it's very, very thick. This is not good because as the powder comes up, it's going to shoot out, and this is a very thin hose inside. So if you take a lot of something and then force it out in a very small amount, it's going to come out in a very fine stream. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at the effective design, which is the Amerex, you can see right here, there's a little bit of powder coming out. Just got to shake that out. There is a very small metal one, might I add, because metal is always better. Siphon tube. So this is a very thin metal tube, and the reason this is a lot more effective is because as the powder comes up the thin metal tube, it's going back out another thin hose, because if you look at the inside, you'll see that it's just a very thin amount of room for the powder in there. So that's why it's a lot more effective. So today when I did my testing, I only tested two of the most prevalent brands of fire extinguishers, Kidde and Amerex. However, there's a multitude of other brands and manufacturers out there I'd like to talk about. Another company you might have heard of is called Badger. Badger fire extinguishers are either really good or really bad. The good Badgers are these ones with the straight handles, and the bad ones are the ones that are called Badger Advantage. Badger Advantage extinguishers are basically just rebranded Kidde extinguishers. Badger is also owned by Carrier, which is the same company that owns Kidde, so let that sink in. Another company people often talk about is First Alert. First Alert is pretty much in the same category as Kidde, however they're slightly better. First Alert extinguishers are still made of plastic on some models to this day. Their extinguishers are just mediocre, and they claim that they're rechargeable when in reality most technicians cannot and will not recharge these because they're unreliable, and the recharge adapters for these are very hard to find. Ansel Sentry. This is an Ansel Sentry extinguisher that's been rebranded by Flagfire. Ansel Sentry extinguishers are very nice, and they're almost equal to Amerex extinguishers. The only problem I have with them is A, they have had a recall because of the siphon or down tubes breaking inside of the cylinder, and also recently they've been cheapening their extinguishers. This is an older model, so as you can see it has the nice hose holder. Nowadays, they just glue a plastic hose holder onto the cylinder, and it breaks very easily. And Buckeye. Buckeye hasn't really changed their design in a very long time, and their handles don't have much control. Buckeye has never had a recall, and their extinguishers are just very consistent. They're not great, they're not horrible, they're just average. I think the winner of this contest is clear. I think the Amerex extinguishers are always going to be my extinguisher of choice. The reason I like them is because they're top quality and they work when you need them. Quality is behind the diamond. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by any of these brands. I paid for them with my own money. Pretty much every other extinguisher is okay. The only extinguishers I'd warn against getting are Kidde and First Alert, but that's all. Well, that does it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I put a whole lot of effort into this video, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more of these videos in the future, please let me know down below.